Welcome to Peak to Profit, where each week we share practical and tactical guidance to help you lead a profitable business. Hi, I'm Jennifer Drago, award-winning strategist and business coach. I help businesses develop a laser-focused strategy and roadmap for business growth so they can earn more, work fewer hours, and amplify the impact they have in the world. This week on the Peak to Profit segment, we're going to focus on perfectionism. Winston Churchill once stated, "Perfectionism is the enemy of progress." Many business leaders, whether you own your own business or you are a leader in a corporation, are affected by perfectionism. If you yourself are a perfectionist, you may have the view that perfectionism helps you produce stellar results. You may think it allows you to produce projects that are well beyond the capabilities of others and therefore are superior. Chances are, if you are a perfectionist, you've also seen and felt the negative side of perfectionism. You know, the perfectionism that makes you take longer than average to start a project or to complete a task. The type of perfectionism that hinders your ability to make decisions because there's a constant fear of possibly making the wrong decision. It can make you highly self-critical, and it can make you procrastinate. Sometimes procrastination comes disguised as planning. For example, if I take a little more time to plan my course of action, it will be closer to perfect when I implement it. I like to call this procrastinating. If you aren't a perfectionist yourself, chances are that you've worked closely with a perfectionist and have seen the above tendencies and the impact that it has on the work to be done. In my case, I've worked with other executives as well as worked for leaders that shared some of these perfectionist tendencies, and I can vouch for the frustration that comes from having those around you paralyzed with inaction. If you're a perfectionist, here are some tried and true tips to help you move further faster in the work that you have to do. First, tell yourself that done is better than perfect. In my coaching, I worked with a perfectionist who would do everything to the highest degree and would also procrastinate on some simple tasks because she wanted to make sure that she had enough time to do it to her standards. Once she started to tell herself that done is better than perfect, she was able to move through smaller tasks quickly instead of putting them off, and she was able to tackle bigger tasks by noting how good it would feel once she had them finished. Over time, she was reprogramming her perfectionistic tendencies. A similar mantra that may be useful is to tell yourself to do B+ work. Your B+ work is better than so many other people's A work. And it's time to just get it out in the world. No one is really going to notice that it's B+ work, I promise you. When a decision needs to be made, another task that can help a perfectionist is to set a deadline for making the decision. This will allow you to gather the information necessary to make the decision without overthinking it. More importantly, setting a timeline for the decision will not allow you to delay your progress. Finally, and most importantly, let's understand what is the root of perfectionism. Where does it come from? It can be a fear of judgment or disapproval from others. It can also be from a fear of failure. These fears are usually deep-rooted in our subconscious as a result of programming in our childhood. Perhaps we had a parent or others in our lives with unusually high expectations. Or perhaps our culture was one where high performance was not just encouraged but was expected. Once we identify what might be at the root of perfectionism, it's also helpful to understand the core desire of the fear that we are feeling. In most cases, our perfectionism and our fear of judgment or disapproval stems from a core desire to feel safe. Therefore, our subconscious is taking a cue from our ego or our younger self to stay safe and remain in our comfort zone. That is why a perfectionist may delay making decisions or completing a project. Their inner child is trying to keep them safe from the potential disapproval of others or from failure by bringing out perfectionistic tendencies. Now that you're aware of the reasons behind perfectionism, you can be accepting of these fears and still move forward in action. If you suffer or feel held back by the bonds of perfectionism, here is the action takeaway for today. First, remind yourself to do B+ work and use the mantra, done is better than perfect, as you work through tasks on your to-do list. 2, when a decision needs to be made, give yourself a deadline for the decision and stick to it. And 3, if you feel your perfectionism holding you back, Remember the innocent inner child who is trying to keep you safe by protecting you from a fear of failure or a fear of judgment from others. Give that child a metaphorical hug or a virtual hug. Thank him or her for keeping you safe and move into action. I hope that this segment on overcoming perfectionism has been helpful to you in understanding these tendencies in yourself or in someone close to you. I'll see you next week here on Peak to Profit. Bye for now.